Hello and hi, welcome to my class. Today we are still in chapter 3, which is confidence interval. So the next topic is the confidence interval for the difference between two means. But before that, we try to look the difference between the confidence interval for a mean and for two means. Okay. So for a mean, it means that because we have one group or one sample. For two means, it means that because we have two groups or we have two samples. For example, a mean. Before this, you calculate the X bar, which is a sample mean. A mean, you only have one group or one sample. We have sample mean, we have sample size, and also we have sample standard deviation, only a mean. But whenever we have two means, we have two groups or two sample. Now, our sample mean also we have two, meaning that we have S bar 1 and S bar 2, meaning that one is from group number 1 and 2 is from group number 2. Similar, also same goes to the sample size. We have sample size group 1, we have sample size group 2. And also the sample standard deviation from group 1 and sample standard deviation for group 2. Okay. For revision for a mean, where we have two different cases. The first case is whenever we have population variance or population standard deviation is known. And the second case is when the population variance or the population standard deviation is unknown. Known means that the value is given. The value of population standard deviation, the sigma, or the value of the population variance, which is the sigma squared, is given. You know the value. When we know the value, we will use a Z table, which is Z distribution, Z alpha divided by 2, which you can refer to table number 4. However, if the population variance or the population standard deviation is unknown meaning that we do not know the value. The value is not given. The value of the sigma or the value of sigma square is not given. If the value is not given, then you will use the t distribution, whereby t alpha divided by 2 with the degree of freedom n minus 1. And for this one, you can refer to table 7. So the confidence interval for this one can be calculated as S bar plus minus. And for this one, table times with the standard error sigma over square root of n. And for this one, the CR is calculated as S bar plus minus table T and times with the sample standard deviation divided by square root of sample size. This one is for confidence interval for a mean. But now we try to look at the confidence interval for two means. For two means, we have two samples. We have two samples, meaning that we have independent samples and we have dependent samples. So what is the difference between independent sample and dependent sample? For independent sample, both sample 1 and sample 2 are not related to each other. However, the dependent sample, the samples are related to each other. For example, okay, here I give you some illustration for the independent sample. For example, here I give you, we want to study the average weight between male and female student. So here, our group is male and female. Male would be the group number 1 and female would be the group number 2. We have two groups here which are male and female. And here what we observe the weight. We observe the weight. So this is the sample of the data that I made to you. 67 kilograms, 77 kilograms, 83 kilograms. For female, 54 kilograms, 66 kilograms, and 67 kilograms. So this example shows that we have two groups or we have two samples which are male and female. And for each male and female, we observe the weight of student. This is the independent sample whereby the sample are not related to each other, meaning that the weight of female is thus not related to the weight of male. weight of female is not depends on the weight of male. Dia tidak ada bergantung. Berat perempuan tidak bergantung kepada berat lelaki. For independent samples, okay, for independent samples, we have three different cases. We have three different cases, and today I only want to cover the first case under independent sample. The first case of independent samples is when your population variance group 1, population variance group 2, or population standard deviation group 1, population standard deviation from group 2 is known. Again, the word known here is whenever the value is given. You know the value. You know the sigma and sigma square value. Meaning that, for example, like you were given that the population standard deviation is equal from group 1 is equal to 7 or sigma 2 is equal to 8. For example, this is just example. You know the value. Okay. This is known. Why known? You know the value. Unknown is the value is not given. You do not know the value. So when the population variance or population standard deviation for the both group is given, then again known, you will use the Z table. Similar to confidence interval for a mean, you will use the Z table, Z distribution, which later you can refer to table number 4. This is Z table, similar to a mean. Okay. Since this is two sample, meaning that you need to have two sample mean, which are you need to have X bar 1 sample mean from group 1 minus with the sample mean from group 2 plus minus table, and this is the standard error. This is the standard error, whereby the standard error for the first case is calculated as population variance group 1 divided by the sample size group 1 plus population variance group 2 divided by the sample size group 2, and then you square root of the value. For this one, to make it clear, you can refer to the slide. You can refer to this slide. This is the page 31 for, okay, you can refer to example number 11. Please read first, read the question, can read carefully. And number 2, try to figure out the important information that was given to you. Okay, try to figure out or try to extract the information given. Okay, for this example, it says that a study conducted in which two types of engines A and B. So meaning that we know that there are two samples involved with our engine A and engine B, meaning that you have two samples here. So you have engine A and engine B. Because two sample, right? Okay, what else? The information given to you. 50 experiments were conducted using engine A. 50, meaning that this is your sample size. So sample size, the notation for sample size is small letter n and A. Why A? Because this is the sample size for group A. So given that the sample size for group A about 50. And how about the engine B? 75. So NB equal to 75. The average gas mileage for engine A, the average, okay? The average, okay, for engine A was 42 miles, meaning that the sample mean for group A is equal to 42. And for the average for engine for B was 36. So sample mean for group B is equal to 36. Okay, you need to write the label because we now have two samples, which are A and B. Okay, what else given to you? Here, find the 96 confidence interval, meaning that your alpha here, the significance level given to you is 0.04. How we get the 0.04? Okay, 100 minus, 100 minus 96 is equal to 4%, right? So 4% is equivalent to 4 over 100. So 4 over 100 is equal to 0.05. Sorry, 0.04. What else given to you here? Assume that the population standard deviation are 8 and 6 for engine A and B respectively. Population standard deviation. So means that the sigma A equal to 8 and sigma B is equal to B. Sigma B is equal to 6. Okay. Remember, please be remind that whenever you were given the case study, example 11 is actually the case study. So when you were given the case study, you need to extract the important information. Extract it first. Why you need to extract? So that whenever you see all this value, you know on how to identify which formula to be applied. Okay, for this one, since we know this, okay, this case is the population standard deviation for both group is known. Okay, A, B is known. Y is known, again, known meaning that you know the value. And right here, you can see that the value is given, which are 8 and 6. You know the value. That's why this is case number 1, is known. You know the value. So what you can do after that, okay, the next step that you need to do is, now you can calculate the confidence interval since the question asks you to calculate the confidence interval. Therefore, the formula to calculate the confidence interval is S bar A minus S bar B. Okay. Because now we have A and B, okay, it depends on the question. If the question gave you brand brand 1 and brand 2, so you can use S bar 1 minus S bar 2. It depends on the question. So S bar A minus S bar engine B plus minus Z distribution with alpha divided by 2 and times with the sigma square A over NA plus sigma square B for NB. Okay, please refer to the formula. Okay, refer to the appendix. Now, this is your task. Now, I want you to substitute all the value that we obtain into the formula. And please solve this example. Solve this example. Okay, see you in the next class. Thank you very much.